World News from the BBC. More than 140,000 protesters are estimated to have gathered in Tel Aviv for the 27th week of protests against planned judicial reforms in Israel. It comes before the first reading in Parliament on Monday of a bill to remove the right of the courts to judge the reasonableness of government decisions. Houthi rebels who control northern Yemen say they've banned all imports from Sweden in protest at the burning of a Quran there last month. A Houthi minister said Yemen was the first Islamic country to make the move and called on others to follow suit. The burning by an activist outside Stockholm's Central Mosque sparked an outcry in the Islamic world. Elton John has ended the last show of his farewell tour in the Swedish capital Stockholm with the hit Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. It marked the finale of the 76-year-old star's touring career after 50 years on the road, which has included more than 4,000 performances in over 80 countries. Here's Kate Parand.
The hit Benny and the Jets was the curtain opener for the last show of Elton's epic Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour. One with 330 dates, it all began in 2018. A final long hurrah that encapsulated the glitz of one of the world's most famous stars. Famed for his flamboyant costumes, but Elton didn't disappoint, with several mid-concert changes and golden confetti raining down on the audience. He said he wanted to go away for a while, but said his fans would remain in his head, heart and soul.
Megan Rapinoe has announced she's retiring from football at the end of the current Women's Soccer League season in the United States. Rapinoe, a winger for the Seattle team OL Reign, has won 2 Women's World Cups with the US national team and an Olympic gold medal. In the process, she's become a household name, helping to raise the profile of women's football. BBC News.
A couple of days ago, I took a trip out to the countryside. The whole thing was curated by the gadget in my back pocket. I checked the weather for rain on my phone. I checked the train times and the best route on my phone. I organised a list from the train station via my phone. I know it sounds obvious, but mobile phones have changed our lives so much. I can't even remember how we used to make plans before them, or what we did when plans went wrong. Talking of which, I arrived at the station ready for my trip. My train, however, was cancelled. Physical reality letting the side down, I thought, as I pulled out my trusty phone to claim the refund on my ticket. I'm Marnie Chesterton from the BBC World Service. This is Unexpected Elements. And it's not just me. This show is an intercontinental group chat. So joining us from South Africa is journalist Candice Bailey. Hello, Candice.
Hello, Marnie. Goedemorgen.
And just back from the mountains of the Himalayas in Mumbai, journalist Chavi Sachdev. Hello, Chavi.
Namaste. Kaise ho?
Good, thanks. Can I ask about global connectedness up in the Himalayas, Chavi? Could you get Wi-Fi or reception where you were?
In one of the homestays, yes, but I had no network on my phone, so I was blissfully cut off until I went back to my room.
Oh, lovely. That's actually quite a rare treat now. So, this is the show where Chavi, Candice and I will look through the week's news agenda and we pick a choice headline and then we carry it far, far away from the rolling news machine to the safety of science land. So here, we'll use it to talk about something connected and then something else science-related, and before you know it, you've learned something completely unexpected. I started this week's episode marvelling at my phone, which isn't entirely unconnected to the story that has kicked off this week's show.
In the coming decades, this is going to become the most important rock in the world.
They grow very slowly, about like a centimeter per million years.
We've got looming ahead of us the prospect of deep-sea mining.
These resources will be gone, and with that, this habitat will be gone too.
We desperately need these metals. We have to get them from somewhere.
Time is up for the UN this week to come up with rules about how to mine the ocean bed, which means that dozens of companies might now receive their provisional licenses to mine vast tracts of the ocean floor to harvest some mysterious potato-sized objects. Only they're not made of potato, but of lots of valuable minerals that go into electronics like my phone. And Candice, you're going to tell us more.
Money, I have to tell you, environmentalists are braced this week. So I don't know if you've known this, but for the past 2 years, there's been some unofficial kind of moratorium on deep seabed mining, and this week it's coming to an end. What it means is that the efforts to protect the deep sea are coming under a lot of pressure, and we are most likely going to see a lot of commercial exploitation of deep sea floors in the international waters in the very next few years.
Okay, I thought there was already commercial exploitation happening in some places and that there was some sort of regulation in place. Who's in charge of all of this?
So since 1994, it's been managed by the International Seabed Association, which is a body set up by the UN and based in Jamaica. But this is where it all gets tricky. Now, countries are sovereign and they manage their own territorial waters, but the high seas and the deep international ocean floors come under what we call the law of the sea. So we've had companies get licenses to see what kinds of exploration can take place, and they usually have to do this application through countries. But about 2 years ago, the small nation of Nauru submitted an application for a deep sea license, and that triggered a clause in this treaty, which set off this 2-year period where the International Seabed Authority needed to sort out the regulations that navigates this entire process and the applications. But the deadline is now up, and it looks like there isn't an agreement in place yet. So the companies may be cleared to apply for licenses to mine with no regulations in place. Now, the bad thing about this is that some countries think that the commercial value outweighs the environmental impact, but we just don't know so much about the deep sea bed, and that's really problematic for environmentalists.
I want you to tell me more about these amazing metallic potato-like lumps that the companies are so keen to harvest.
So there are three main minerals that are being mined: polymetallic nodules, polymetallic sulfides, which come from the seamount, and cobalt crusts, which can be extracted from hydrothermal vents.
What are the polymetallic nodules? They just sound, yeah.
Well, they kind of like balls of metal. They're balls of metal that lie there, and they're on the ocean floor. They need to be dug up, and seemingly they were formed millions of years ago. It takes quite a long time for them to come up, for them to develop, and it looks like they're just waiting to come into our phones for battery material.
I mean, the thing is, they, like you say, Candice, they take millions of years. This is a one-time potato grab. I can see why different countries are looking at this. Are there different views on the impact?
They definitely are. In fact, the environmentalists are up in arms because what they're saying is that, we just don't know. I mean, we're only really starting to see what life on the deep seabed looks like. And what we are potentially doing is we don't know what harm we could do if we mine these polymetallic nodules. So, it's better for us to wait until we have regulations and we can do it better. Obviously, on the other side, companies are saying that it's easier for them to do it in the ocean, and it's better than doing it on land.
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly if you're going for ocean floor potatoes, then there aren't any on land.
But what about the impact on biodiversity down in the ocean?
Exactly, and we don't know what the impact would be.
Can I ask, is there a broad consensus in Africa about whether to go for this?
There is a lot of interest, obviously, in this, but it seems that Africa is the one region that has not sponsored an entity to do any exploration activity, so we've held back.
Oh, interesting.
India has not.
Chavi, you're saying India has not held on?
Not at all. In fact, there is a huge drive to get deep seabed mining in gear starting as soon as possible because they feel like the mineral deposits in the Indian Ocean will make India self-sufficient for nickel and cobalt.
Now, it's a complicated picture because a lot of the metals that could be harvested from the sea are ones that go into batteries, and in order to wean ourselves off fossil fuels, we're going to need a lot more of our energy to be stored and released via batteries. To learn more about them, here's a fact file from producers Alex and Ben.
Alex, have you ever lifted an old-fashioned car battery?
They weigh a ton, don't they?
Imagine if your mobile phone had a battery as heavy as that.
It wouldn't be very mobile.
Exactly. So, batteries have a positive and a negative end, and each end is usually a different material.
And that's why you have to put them in your device the right way round.
In 1976, the first viable lithium battery was built with lithium metal at the negative end and titanium sulfide at the positive end.
Lithium is the lightest metal, so that sounds positive.
Yeah, not so much. Metallic whiskers would grow from the negative end, like little hairs, and if those whiskers touched the positive end, the battery would short circuit.
And explode?
Sometimes, yeah. So along comes an engineer called John Goodenough. Using his experience helping to develop computer memory chips, he had an idea to use cobalt oxide rather than titanium.
Because it doesn't grow these whiskers.
Exactly. So in 1980, he made a lithium battery that was not only safer, but twice as powerful.
And it still contained pure lithium, right? Which is quite dangerous stuff.
It can be. But once a Japanese idea used layers of graphite in the design, the new lithium-ion battery was so successful, it was everywhere in the world in less than a decade.